Today I'm talking about book number 2 that is in the compilation Hidden Faces, Portraits of Nameless Women in the Gospels. Book number 2 in this compilation is Alone, the Woman at the Well. Little did I know when I started doing the research on this book how difficult it would be. Book number 1, Trapped, the Adulterous Woman, I had studied, researched, thought about her literally for years. And I had an idea of what the other 3 stories were going to be. The woman at the well, the woman who anointed Jesus' feet, and the woman with the issue of blood. But I hadn't actually done the research and written the stories. I had written synopsis. When I started doing research on the Samaritan woman, there's hardly any research available about Samaritans, period. Little aside on women. Women were considered property. They were considered less than, more so in the Samaritan culture. I could not find anything on Samaritan woman, no research on their culture as far as the women were concerned. I found one picture, one image on the internet of a Samaritan woman. So I thought, what am I going to do? This is already announced, it's already contracted that I'm going to be writing about the woman at the well. What I had to do was, they were half Jewish, and so I had to go with the culture and the rituals and the customs of the Jews and what little I could find out about the Samaritans. Another issue that was very difficult to write about in this book was the fact that she had 5 husbands. Why would a woman have 5 husbands, and then the man she was living with at the time that she met Jesus was not her husband? That was very difficult to write about. I named the woman Mara, which means bitterness in Hebrew, and she was a bitter woman as she went through her life. She was a little girl who grew up loving children, and she married the love of her life, but he was killed in a fire of their vineyard. And then it just seemed like she bounced from man to man. When she encountered Jesus, he, of course, recognized her hurt. She felt alone because she had been shunned by society. At that time, she was living with a man who was not her husband. But she realized that there was something in this man, Jesus, that was different. Now you'll remember that Jesus revealed his messiahship to her, a woman, a hated Samaritan. Why did he do that? Why did he accept her when nobody in her own culture, in her own society, even would have anything to do with her? It's a very interesting study. One thing that came out that I didn't realize was that John was probably with him, was probably left behind when the disciples went into town to find food. And so John is recording this, and he saw her as a woman who had been rejected and was alone, and that's how he wrote about her. In the end of the book, she changes her name after she encounters Jesus to Abigail, which means joy in Hebrew. She knew that after Jesus accepted her, that she was no longer alone and that she was accepted in the beloved. This is the theme of this book, is that even though we may feel rejected, that in Jesus, in the Lord, we are accepted and we are loved for who we are. Again, I hope the reader will enjoy reading Alone and finding acceptance, even though we might feel rejected by our own.